What's going on, everybody? Here we are with the final episode of the Clone Wars ever, the finale of the final season, season 7, and this episode is titled Victory and Death. So as I've done for all of these, there will be spoilers. This will not be a full-blown breakdown of everything that happened, but I will be talking spoilers freely, so I'm going to assume you've watched this episode. If not, that's your warning. Here we go. So at the end of the last episode, this huge emotional moment happened, the moment we were all waiting for, Order 66, the moment where the clone troops turn on the Jedi, the Great Jedi Purge, one of the biggest moments of Revenge of the Sith and of Star Wars lore. And so this episode picks up right after that. Ahsoka and Rex are now like hiding away in the medical bay. Rex has now had the chip taken out of his head that is making him do this and making the clones do this. And this episode is actually, I would say, a little bit less eventful than the last few episodes. Majority of this episode is just Ahsoka and Rex trying to escape this Republic ship that's now crashing due to Darth Maul going into the hyperdrive room and bringing down the hyperdrive. He destroys it all, which was all really cool. There's some amazing action in this episode. The animation, again, is stunning, and I just love seeing the send-off of Darth Maul. Essentially, he just brings down the hyperdrive. The ship is now crash landing onto a planet, and he ends up boarding the ship that Ahsoka and Rex were going to get on, and he escapes and leaves them there. There's this great moment where Ahsoka's doing a kind of tug-of-war kind of thing with the ship. He's trying to fly off. She's trying to pull it in with the Force. But yeah, outside of Darth Maul, the majority of this episode really just focused on Ahsoka and Rex. And yeah, this episode was them just trying to escape this cruiser. There's a moment where Rex tries to trick some of the clones and say that Ahsoka is no longer a Jedi, because she isn't. She is not part of the Jedi Order at this point. And yeah, you know, I wanted to see where it was going to go. And majority of the episode genuinely was just them escaping. There's a lot of really great action, some great moments of dialogue, a lot of little back and forth moments between the clones and Rex, essentially them, you know, realizing that he is treasonous as well and that they need to kill him as well. And obviously we know that the clones have no control of themselves in this situation. What I love about what they've just done here with this whole show, now that it's all done, is they've given so much context to the prequel era. They've given so much context to the clones and so much more context to Order 66. You feel more not only for the Jedi and for the galaxy as a whole, but for the clones. This show did what the movies didn't do, which was give the clones personalities. When you watch the original trilogy or even the sequel trilogy or the prequels, the clone troopers, the stormtroopers, they always are just guys in white armor and they do what they gotta do. This show gave each and every single one of those clones, or majority of them, or a big chunk of them, a personality. They gave them names, they gave them differences, and they're all voiced by the same guy, Dee Bradley Baker. And they did an incredible job across this entire series, having tons of clones that we can get to know and fall in love with, and Rex being easily the most popular one. I really love that they chose to focus this last season specifically on Ahsoka and Rex, because they could have easily focused it more on Anakin and Obi-Wan and giving us a direct tie-in to the events of Revenge of the Sith. But, you know, we already had that story played out. We've seen these characters played out, and I think it was only right to finish off this series by, you know, really focusing on the two biggest characters that have come out of the Clone Wars, whose stories would go on for more and more and more outside of this. Now, if you watch Star Wars Rebels, spoilers, you already know that Ahsoka and Rex make an appearance in that show and play a big role in that show. So we already know they're not dead, right? So this season or this episode doesn't end with them alluding to their death or anything like that, but we know they go into hiding. And we pretty much just get to see them escape this Republic ship. There's this great back and forth. There's all this action. The ship's going down. There's so much tension going on in this moment, so much emotion. The music is great, the action is fantastic. Again, the animation is stunning. There's this really great moment where Ahsoka tells Rex, you know, there's so many of them, speaking about the clones, that were, you know, so many to get through, and she goes, I don't want to kill them. And, you know, Rex is just kind of having this moment where he breaks down and he's just like, you know, they have no problem killing you or killing me. And, you know, it's this moment where he realized, and he says, my brothers have no problem taking this ship down with us on it, and no problem with killing us. And then Ahsoka takes off his helmet and he has tears coming down his face. And I just really love the connection between Ahsoka and Rex. I always have. It expands even more in Rebels. And being able to see Star Wars do this, where you have a story that tells you one piece, and then you get way into the future, and then we get the story in the middle. And, you know, some people don't like that, but I love it. And I think that they've done a great job with this show. I think that they did a great job wrapping up Ahsoka and Rex's story. I don't think this was as good of an episode as the last 2 episodes or even the last 3 episodes personally. I think that this was a really solid episode. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was really, really good and emotional. There was a sense of stakes and sense of tension there. You already knew that they were going to get away. It's just a matter of, how they were going to do it. And at the end, it is this somber thing about the fact that Ahsoka and Rex have to go into hiding, and yeah, that's the situation now for them. They have to go into hiding. The world is no longer what it is. The galaxy has gone to shit. And yeah, I really, really love seeing those moments between Rex and Ahsoka. And again, the animation is just gorgeous in this show, just gorgeous. And then at the very end of the episode, the biggest surprise to me was it instantly cuts to the next scene, and now we see snowtroopers and stormtroopers from the original trilogy era. So we have now done a little bit of a time skip, and moments later you hear that iconic Darth Vader breathing, and you see him walk by, and he ends up walking up to the wreckage of this Republic ship that Ahsoka was on, and right before the ending of our time with Ahsoka on screen, she ends up dropping her lightsaber on the ground, just kind of giving it up, you know what I mean? Just giving up the lightsaber and the whole Jedi path, or maybe she just wanted to leave it as a clue, who knows really, but she just drops the saber. She looks like she's over it essentially, and we see that there's this great shot of a bunch of clone troopers, all the clone troopers that were on the ship. They took their helmets and they put them on like sticks, kind of like as tombstones, I guess you could say, just kind of like to honor them. And yeah, so when it cuts down to that future shot with Darth Vader, now it's all snowing and we're now a little bit closer to the original trilogy timeline. Darth Vader walks up and he finds her lightsaber, he ignites it, he just kind of looks at it, he doesn't say anything, and the episode ends. And so yeah, it's an episode that wasn't as eventful as I expected it to be. However, I really enjoyed it. It had the emotion, it had the stakes. I think it really focused in on Ahsoka and Rex. I could have done with a little bit less time spent escaping and a little bit more time with them discussing things or talking, or maybe even being able to see where it is that they would go after that. We just see them on that planet, and the idea is, of course, that they go into hiding. But I would love to have seen where they go before cutting to that scene with Darth Vader. But yeah, that's just a nitpick, and truly, I just love this episode. I love this season, and I love this show. This has truly been an honor and a privilege to be a fan, to have watched this grow. I remember when this started and people would just call it this kiddie show that they didn't want to watch. Star Wars fans that felt they were too elite to watch this ended up falling in love with it as time went on. And anytime I show this show to anybody, they have a great time with it. It's emotional. It brings you into Star Wars. It does so well what Star Wars does right, as well as bring something new and fresh to Star Wars. There's some things about the show as an overall that don't work on every level, and that's always going to happen. But if you were a Star Wars fan, there is so much there. There's so much emotion. There's so much love and dedication put into the show to expand upon characters and really expand upon the era of the prequels. And I think that Dave Filoni and everybody who's worked on the show, all the voice actors and everybody engaged in this, should really be proud. They should have a smile on their face. They've all done an incredible job. It has truly been an honor as a Star Wars fan to sit down and watch this show and be a kid and grow up with it. And now the Clone Wars is wrapping up when I'm about to be 27 years old, and it's truly an honor. It's truly an honor to have been watching this show. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I have. Definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Leave your comments about this episode and the series altogether down below. And one last thing I'll mention, it was just, Darth Maul has a small role in this episode, even though he's had a bigger role in the last few. And yeah, we just kind of see him fly off, and the idea is, of course, he's still out there. And timeline-wise, we'll end up seeing him again in Solo, as far as the films or anything like that goes, on-screen stuff. And then, of course, we see him again in Rebels. So, he's definitely got plenty going on. There's some books and comics and stuff in the between there and then. But yeah, I just love how much his character has been expanded upon and how cool his character has become. I remember when I grew up watching The Phantom Menace, people would tell me all the time, like, oh, Darth Maul looked cool and the fight was cool, but, he didn't really have a character. And, that's objectively true when you watch that first movie. But I always just loved him. I felt like he was one of the coolest characters, and I feel like Dave Filoni and everybody involved, George Lucas, the idea to bring him back into the Clone Wars and revive him via the Force, his anger kept him alive, but the fact that to bring him back into the story and what they've done with him, it's not only the fact that they brought him back, it's just what they chose to do with him, the way they executed his return and his plot in the story is just absolutely fantastic. And as a Darth Maul fan from back then, to have seen this expand to where it is now is truly an honor and a blessing, and I can't wait to continue with more adventures with the character in books and comics or video games or whatever, or just keep reliving the same things we have. So I'm going to stop rambling now, guys. Obviously, I loved this episode. I had a great time with it. I can't wait to hear what all of you have to say about it. This was such a great adventure. I love love the Clone Wars, and I cannot wait to now be able to rewatch it all once more and once more and once more and 10,000 times more with the full series now completed. You know, it's truly, again, an honor and a blessing as a Star Wars fan to have been a part of this, and I can't wait to see what Star Wars has next. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be my thoughts on this episode. Leave those comments down below. Like this video, subscribe if you guys want more videos, and I'll see each and every single one of you guys in the next video. Bye-bye, and may the Force be with you.